Part of our readings and assignment this week is we're going to take a look at what is a state of nature and what is a social contract. So when we live in a state of nature, there are no laws or government. Morality, ethics, these items do not exist. Everyone is out for themselves, and we refer to this as self-interest. They only care about what is going to further their life and what makes them the most comfortable. So basically, individuals can behave as they please. If they wanted to steal, if they wanted to kill someone, they can because there are no consequences for anybody's actions. Thomas Hobbes referred to this as a state of nature and believed that in the state of nature, it is just constant war. So there's a picture of Thomas Hobbes, and he argued that in the state of nature, life is constant chaos. It's solitary, it's poor, it's nasty, it's brutal, and it's very short. And this is because people by nature are selfish, and we are only interested in advancing our own interest. And, I think most of us can say that that's probably true. We usually will put ourselves first. And it's not that we don't care about humanity. It's just our interest, our family, our children, whatever our most important things are in our lives are always going to be put first. So therefore, if in society, we have a need for a governing body. And we need this governing body in order to punish offenders who violate others. And this would eliminate the eye for an eye mentality. So if you stole from me, I will steal from you. If you hurt somebody in my family, I will hurt you or somebody in your family. Clearly, we cannot live in a society that goes on those rules. Kind of look at the movie The Purge, when all of government's rules and societies are lifted and people can behave and do what they want for a period of time. Well, clearly there's going to be a lot of incidents, a lot of deaths, and if that continued, who would be left? So then we also have John Locke, and he argued that as people, we have the right to change a government and to have a government that does not protect our natural rights. So if we form a government and it is not protecting us, then we should change that government. But he did support the ideal of having a government. He believed that as people, we do have natural rights, and these are the right to life, to liberty, and property, and that the government itself cannot interfere on those rights. Locke argued that a social contract should exist between the people and the government, and this contract should say that the government will protect the people's rights, and in return, the people will agree to follow the laws of the government. Now, we also have Rousseau, who actually is one of my favorites. He was a little nutsy, but he was brilliant. And he actually wrote a book called The Social Contract. And in that book, Rousseau theorized about the best way that you could establish a political community. In his writings of The Social Contract, Rousseau argued against the ideal that monarchs were divinely empowered to legislate. He believed that it should be the people that should legislate because it's the people who are sovereign, and we have that all-powerful right. He also argued that the people want order and stability, that we don't want chaos, and that we will intentionally give up some of our freedoms in order to join a society or to live under a social contract so that we can enjoy our lives and be protected from harm. So if you're in a state of nature, it has been often argued that it is in your best interest to leave that state of nature. So that is a self-interest. So how would you do that? Well, the only way that you could do that is you would have to give up some of the liberties that you currently have, and you would have to enter into a contract that would say that you will treat others as you would want to be treated, and that the others will also agree to do the same. And if we don't, then clearly there will be consequences. So if we wanted to leave the state of nature, how will we do this? Well, we have to set up a government, and we have to have a contract with that government. And that contract is going to set standards on how we live, how we treat each other, and consequences for our actions. We will select individuals that will write this contract, and we as the people will hold those individuals accountable. And in this contract will be a set of rules for morality that all rational people will agree to obey by, because it is for our mutual benefit. So when we look at a social contract and we look at the United States of America, what is the contract that we currently live under? Well, that is the United States Constitution, and you probably already guessed that. And in this Constitution, we have certain rights and that are laid out for us and responsibilities of our government. So our government is charged with establishing justice. Well, how do they do this? Well, we have county courts, we have state courts, we have Supreme Court, we have a common defense, which is our armed services. We have promotion of our general welfare. This is our taxes and our Medicaid and our healthcare systems. So these are the things that the government gives to us so that we are protected and taken care of. And in the same token, there are things in the Constitution, such as our Bill of Rights, which are our rights as individuals that the government cannot impose on. And we'll get into a lot of the Constitution later on in the chapters. So when we have a social contract, we have a government, and this slide kind of shows you how it works. The government agrees to protect us. The people agree to follow the rules that the government sets out. And if the government denies any of our natural rights that are laid out in the Constitution, then we as the people have the right to rebel. So that's kind of the short version of the state of nature and the social contract. You can read more about it in your textbook. And as we get more into the Constitution and how it was formed, we'll get a little more into our social contract. Thank you.